Okay, so it's going to be basically impossible to talk about Rocketman without talking about Bohemian Rhapsody. So before we start the Rocketman review, I'm going to give my quick thoughts on Bohemian Rhapsody. So I overall enjoyed Bohemian Rhapsody. I thought that Rami Malek definitely deserved his Oscar for it, although there were a lot of dumb shit in it. There's a lot of historical inaccuracies, it was edited like a Michael Bay film, and the pacing was off. So I would give Bohemian Rhapsody a B- had I reviewed it at the time. Anyways, on to Rocketman. A lot of people are saying that Rocketman was what Bohemian Rhapsody should have been, as to where they're saying Rocketman fixed a lot of the issues that Bohemian Rhapsody had. And to a sense, I agree. I feel like Rocketman is a mixed bag of good and bad, and I feel very conflicted on it. So starting with the good things, the acting is really good in this movie. Child performances were better than most child performances are. They weren't great, but they were definitely above average in terms of child acting. And my favorite part of this movie was easily the chemistry between the leads. The guy playing Elton John and the guy playing his best friend were really good together. I think his name is Bernie. Yeah, his name is Bernie. Whenever Elton and Bernie are hanging out, those are the best scenes of the movie, because you really get a sense of their camaraderie with each other, and you get a sense that they care about each other. Also, I really enjoyed the portrayal of Elton John as a flawed person. Bohemian Rhapsody really made a rated R person seem squeaky clean and G-rated, as to where Rocketman make Elton seem like a flawed guy, because no one's really perfect. And I really enjoyed that. They explicitly showed the drugs that he used and the gay lifestyle that he had, and I think that was really a good decision for the movie, because it made him feel more real, because to me that's what Elton John was as a person, and he clearly got his depiction of himself that he wanted, which I appreciate. I'm glad that biopics are gaining popularity right now. This is one of the things I said about Bohemian Rhapsody. I was very happy that Bohemian Rhapsody was a near billion-dollar blockbuster hit, despite the fact that it wasn't with an established property already. It was its own thing, and that's really rare, and I hope that that becomes a precedent for more things to come. I really want there to be more biopics like Bohemian Rhapsody, but that can improve on Bohemian Rhapsody, because it wasn't that great. Another thing that I appreciated about Rocketman was its attention to detail with the music. For example, in one of the scenes, I noticed one of the guitar players was playing a Jimi Hendrix style bar chord, and that was very appropriate given the time period. So I appreciated the attention to detail as a guitar player myself, because I was able to pick up on these things. But unfortunately, the film isn't perfect. There are a lot of flaws in this film that keep me from liking it. For example, its use of music I found to be very distracting. I kept finding that the best scenes of the film were interrupted for the film to devolve into essentially what is a big budget fan-made Elton John music video. And we really didn't need to see this. There were so many of them. Especially the most egregious example was a scene involving a pool, which I won't spoil for you, but it was a very emotionally impactful scene, and then it turned into a stupid music video that completely ripped me out of the scene, because I was invested in what was happening. And then they paused the movie periodically to have us watch this 4-minute music video, and it completely tanks the pace of the film, because it makes the film feel so much longer. Another use of music that they used that was bad was the overuse of scores. So they would have scenes of Elton just playing piano and singing in his living room, and those scenes were really good. But while he's playing the piano and singing to his family, you hear this orchestral arrangement behind him, and it makes the film seem so much less intimate, because it doesn't feel real anymore. That moment of him playing piano and singing with his family was very real and felt very close-knit with the family, and not this huge production. But then when you add the orchestra, it makes it seem fake, Hollywoodized, and just no longer real. Another issue with the music was that in every single scene that the audience was supposed to feel sad, there was this overwhelmingly loud, sad violin playing. And there's a difference between a scene actually emotionally resonating with the audience and the score just telling you to emotionally resonate with the scene. The cinematography was also distracting. It was passable at best and distracting at worst. I often felt like the cameraman should have have stepped back to get a wide shot, but there were so many close-up shots on actors' faces that were just so close. It reminded me of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Another problem was the script telling you things instead of showing you things. There's a very simple rule in Screenwriting 101, which is show don't tell, and this film has no concept of that at all. The most egregious examples of this being when they break out into song, and whenever you see Elton with the AA meeting. So characters will just break out into song to just tell the audience how they feel. Like they'll show the dad being emotionally distant, and then he'll turn to the camera and start singing, "I am emotionally distant." And it's like, okay, delivering lazy exposition through song and dance doesn't make it not lazy exposition. You're just doing it through song and dance now. Another awful example of this was every time you saw Elton John at the AA meetings, because everything that he said at the AA meetings boiled down to him telling you what just happened or telling you what's about to happen. There was one scene where they show him and Bernie getting drunk and having a great time together, and their natural chemistry is really good, and you could tell that they're good friends. And then Elton looks at the camera at the AA meeting and is like, "Bernie and I were best friends," and it's just like, wow, we also have eyeballs, movie. Thank you for condescending us. Oh, also it opens with him walking into the AA meeting saying, "I'm addicted to cocaine and alcohol and weed and blah 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 blah." And then it shows us him being addicted to those things. You don't need to tell us these things if we're just gonna find it out anyway. Every single scene involving the AA meetings were completely unnecessary because it's just Elton talking to the audience. Because think of this aside from the movie. If these AA meetings were happening as they do in the film, in real life, it wouldn't make any sense. Because it's just him telling his entire life story to an AA meeting, and that's not what those are for. It's not a therapy session where it's just you and a therapist. If they had just changed it to him with a private therapist, it would have made complete sense, but it's him talking to a group of people who also have their own problems and need to sort out their own problems and don't necessarily care about his. Finally, there's just weird, dumb shit that happens in the movie that there's no reason for. Like, his mother seriously does not age for like the first 30 years of his life in the movie, and then in one scene the entire years of her life catch up and she's just an old woman. It was so funny. I almost started laughing in the theater when I saw it because she looked 25 for the first 30 years of his life, and then all of a sudden she was a 70-year-old grandma. It was just so funny. Also, the cliche evil music executives, it's in every one of these movies that involve musicians. The music executives are just always assholes who don't care about anything but money. It's so overdone at this point. It's funny. It's not good. Stop doing it. Stop. As you could tell, I don't think I liked this movie. Overall, I'm gonna give Rocketman a C-. Yeah, I like Bohemian Rhapsody more than this one, and I'm probably gonna get a lot of flack for that because people seem to like this movie. I just didn't. Anyways, I'm glad you guys are enjoying this movie because I didn't, and I'll see you next time.